you enter. Do you think that actually goes through and they can see all the images? Is it gonna pop up? Well, I think yes, right? I think you know, like I think this stuff is I think everything's accessible, but there are solutions against them, right? And I think that falls in the hands of the parents, right? What well that bro.
Yeah, I think parents have to. I think parents should do better at controlling what their children definitely look at. But when you're writing policy, you can't really factor that in. You can't really factor individual responsibility into policy provisions because, I mean, that's a very American way to look at situations. But like, no matter what happens, like seatbelt laws, for example, right? Like, you can just say everyone should wear a seatbelt, and it's up to you as an individual to wear a seatbelt, right? Like, if you don't wear a seatbelt, well, you fucked up. But the reason why we have laws around it is because a lot of people don't actually do that. So you have to factor in for the stupidest person possible, just like you have to factor in for the stupidest parents possible when you're regulating this kind of content. And I actually don't know what the best practices are either.
I do know what it is. This makes things very difficult for monetizing and other things, but the extreme solution is having something like YouTube for Kids. YouTube for Kids is heavily moderated, very curated, and content's very pure, I think, for children, right? And if you would have the same type of vibe with TikTok, then it would be hard to break out of the circle when you're entering that. I'm pretty sure, guys, YouTube for Kids is fantastic for kids. It does really good.
And that happened because there was a massive problem on YouTube, right? Like there was a massive problem on YouTube with respect to like what kind of stuff was like being shown to children from like Elsa Gate or whatever, right? Like, or Frozen Gate. I think that that is actually understandable to implement for every single platform, whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube. There's also another component here, though. I agree with you. I think that's a good way to do it. That's like, and if companies don't do it, the government should step in and be like, no, you have to do it. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck what the law says, or I don't give a fuck what the Constitution says. Like, you have to do it. I think that would be...
The problem is, though, is that usually that's when you have a full-fledged product already, right? And then you're refining your product. The problem is that apps are growing so fast, so quickly, right? That by the time that it would be time to implement those things and apply those laws, I feel like the damage has already been done, right? So now I get it. Like TikTok is kind of big now, so I guess it's kind of time. But these are things that are like difficult to implement overall. But what do you think? Do you think he's hearing it? The guy's being disingenuous. The guy who answers the questions, or what?
I mean, he's a CEO, so of course he's being like a little disingenuous. But there's a lot of truth to what he's stating when he says our practices are no different than any other social media company.
Real.
Like that part is like 100% true. If anything, they might even be a little bit better than other social media companies because they, from what I understand, TikTok doesn't sell data to data brokers in the same way that like other corporate entities do in America. The entire issue here is literally TikTok is too successful and it's not ours. Okay. It belongs to the Chinese, and that's terrifying. That's basically what they're saying over and over again, because every single argument that they launch towards TikTok with respect to regulation, content moderation, right? Every single argument that they launch towards like data privacy, data security, every single one of those arguments is actually the exact same argument you can launch towards Mark Zuckerberg, that you can launch towards even Amazon, you can launch towards Elon Musk.
So what all these answers start with like industry standards, right? Because if you're gonna cut them off from doing a certain practice, then you have to cut them off. You have to cut off everybody, right? Because the practice is bad, not the company. Because I do agree though that a lot of things that are happening on TikTok happened on Vine, happened on other platforms.
It happened on MySpace. It even happened on like fucking MySpace. People were like killing themselves and shit, like those challenges and shit.
Challenge.
Yeah.
Tide Pod was from Vine.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, well, TikTok is technically just a Vine reskin anyway. It was Vine and then Musical.ly, and then TikTok bought Musical.ly and blew it the fuck up because it like blew the doors off the algo and basically let shit fly no matter what, right? So ultimately, I think, and this is what other people are speculating on as well, the reason why they're doing this is because, like, you know how Meta Facebook tried to do like Instagram Reels and it fucking failed. And YouTube is now doing Shorts, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And YouTube Shorts has been pretty successful so far, from what I understand.
They're doing good, but they're not brute forcing enough. The problem with YouTube is that they're so defensive of their main product, their YouTube content.
Yeah,
product,
the VODs. Yeah, the VODs. Yeah.
The VOD that they can never integrate a new product. But actually they never brute force it in. They're just like, as they, there's an option, guys. You can click this if you want to. Like it's not. They have to try like really hard, because Shorts could be good, I think, but it's bad.
Yeah, I think what's going on here is that they're trying to literally brute force TikTok and sell it to an American company. I mean, they're very openly stating it. They're saying ByteDance has to divest, like, because ByteDance has to divest, so there's no Chinese involvement whatsoever, even though like TikTok has foreign investment in it as well, obviously foreign control in it, and it's actually an American, like it's a Western focused application. TikTok exists in China. It's just not called TikTok. It's called Douyin, and it's an entirely different product with respect to like how the information is controlled on there, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the Chinese TikTok is called Douyin. It's also owned by ByteDance, and
That's
it's
smart then.
And on that they have insane levels of control. Like children see like museum videos and shit. You know what I mean? You're not allowed to. They literally give you like educational material. It's not the same as TikTok at all.
I mean, with respect to both countries, I mean, they can do whatever the fuck they want. If it's their side their side and their app and their country, I mean, what the fuck do I? I mean, my ethics play no role here. It's they do their thing, right?
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just, the only reason why I'm pointing that out is because like I think a lot of people are upset at TikTok and they're like, oh, Chinese government is like controlling our minds or whatever. But like, they just gave a marketable product. That's it. They made a very marketable product that is like demonstrably successful. And now they're mad because it's owned by not Silicon Valley, but instead owned by fucking a Chinese company.
Okay, so do you think that TikTok is now like fully like Taco Bell'd into the US pretty much, or do you think it's still like kind of like still pretty Chinese type shit?
No, it's never been Chinese. TikTok has always been. That's why I said like Douyin is Chinese. TikTok is very American. So everything you criticize about TikTok, you're basically criticizing a mirror. You know, TikTok just gives you what you want to see, right? Like in your case, you want to see booba. All of your likes are booba, so TikTok shows you booba. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah. No, what about that is that you know, like, even though they own the thing, even though they own TikTok, right? Is TikTok like it's fully normal? Like, is it operating just like it was like an American-based, American-made company, pretty much, as TikTok itself in its operations, or do you think it has like weird backwards ties, or like?
No, there's still a tie to the Chinese government. Yeah, I think any kind of like statement that basically diminishes China's involvement is silly. That's silly. I think that's a lie. Like it definitely still, like, the Chinese government has basically infinite levels of control over every Chinese corporation and all of its subsidiaries. So you could literally do that. You could make that argument for everything, all the way to like League of Legends. You know what I mean?
So let's say some big thing happen. I'm not trying to be a fear monger, okay, but let's say some immense thing happens overnight. Some crazy news pops in, and then China would possibly decide to ask to just fucking backdoor data leak the whole wazoo, like, instantly, right? I mean, they could, right?
What do you mean? Oh, they'd like get all of the information through backdoor measures if they want to? Yeah.
If it just says, yo, open the back door to the fucking data, and just, we need all that. Then they could just suck all like the US, US based, US sourced user data.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yes. I'm pretty sure they could do that. Now, here's the funny and interesting part about that, though.
I mean,
here's the interesting part about that, though. Okay. The American government also has that access to every single application, and they use it regularly, except for TikTok. I think that unless the Chinese government says, yeah, no, you can take all this information as well, we don't give a shit, I don't know if the Chinese government or like ByteDance has given backdoor access to like the FBI, NSA, CIA. But I mean, they can just look at that through your ISPs anyway. But the United States of American government already does this all the time for every single application. Now, here's the other side of it too. We have data brokers. Data brokers already are doing that for every single application as well. So there's also the private side of this. So when people say, oh man, TikTok is like stealing your information, the Chinese government doesn't need TikTok to steal your information. Yeah, the Chinese government could just pay for your information through a data broker if they wanted to get it. So there's no way to stop that, really.
So what I'm getting from this is that there isn't much more information than what is already sold by data brokers that would be important or crazy that somebody else would have. Like, if they want to have it, if you want to have most of the info or info that matters, they can have it through data brokers. Like, I think the back door to the thing wouldn't give them a big up on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's additional information like that is hyper targeted and hyper specific to individual users that you could have when you have backdoor access into the application because it's your application, certainly. But I think ultimately, what the fuck are you clicking on right now? My Lord, dude. What the fuck was that? It's Ramadan, bro. What is this? This is haram.
Jesus.
Bro. Okay. Think about the Muslim juicers, bro. They're fucking fasting.
Bro, my bad, man. My bad. Chat, guys. Sorry about that, man. Okay, then. What about bro? What about Valorant? Doesn't Tencent own Riot Games? Riot Games Valorant, Riot Vanguard on my computer.
Yeah,
and Vanguard is in the absolute core of my computer. Sucking my juice, and it's linked directly to fucking China, yo.
Yeah. I mean, no, like, yeah. Exactly. That's why I said League of Legends. Yeah.
Bro, yeah. I'm pretty sure, like.
The difference is congresspersons' children are watching TikTok nonstop. 200 million Americans is the number that they fucking mentioned. Not every single person's, children are playing Valorante child game. That's the main difference. It's more about like what you point the finger at, what you point the finger of it, like what you pay attention to. You know what I mean? That's it. That's what people are upset about because TikTok is like so massive. You know what I mean? You can make that argument about Discord. You can make that argument about like so many companies that are owned by Chinese conglomerates.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, it's kind of difficult because I feel like the point is to create the most competitive, best product they can. I think a lot of documentaries that I've watched or like pseudoscience or scientists or whatever, they all study data from all these social networks and they're like, well, this is made to be as addictive as possible. Well, I do agree. I do agree that it being addictive is a byproduct, right, of making the people want to use the app, making it competitive, making it a better product. If somebody uses your app a lot, the product is good. It's addicting. Yes, I get it. I get everybody work with like a fucking like psychologist and fucking like lead people that I get that. But everybody is. It's a competitive market. Everybody is fighting for people's attention. And it's a hyper-competitive market, right? If you want to make a better product. And that's just it.
And when you can't make a better product, when you've tried and you can't make a better product, and like your innovation is like fucking VR or whatever, like Meta was doing, which was dog shit, right? Then what do? You tell the people that you've paid in Congress, the politicians that you've paid to fucking bully TikTok, because it's a Chinese company and a lot of people hate China. Americans are like terrified of China. You can get away with like that kind of messaging too, and then force them to sell it to an American, American wealthy guy. So that's they're basically using China to rent seek and or they're basically using the government, Congress, to rent seek and forcibly acquire TikTok.
All right, so
TikTok's counter, on the other hand, is we'll just sell, like we won't divest, but all of your data will be inside of a Texas facility, and it'll be owned by Oracle, an American company.
That seems fair enough to me as a solution. It seems pretty dank.
Well, if the actual concern was privacy, if the actual concern was like literal privacy of American citizens, then that would be the perfect solution, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. All right. Yeah. So, is there small question? Yeah, not long discussion. Is there anything that ever comes out of, because these things happen all the time, right? These like hearings or whatever that are really stupid. Is there anything good that ever comes from this? Is there anything at all that ever gets produced or progressed through with this dog shit?
Is there any what at all that gets produced through this dog shit?
Is there any progress to this interaction of CEOs and Congress people through their questioning and answers? Is there anything good that happens from these discussions?
I think in a lot of instances, this stuff is just it's just nothing. It's just posturing. It's a little bit of content. Usually these deals are cut and people have their own perspectives on the matter before they actually engage in this theater. But it is theater ultimately.
It is theater, yeah. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling to see these guys talk, and these guys are like the leaders. I mean, these guys, these Congress people, they lead. They just control the game, like the game meaning everybody in the United States, right? These people that are on this stage.
Well, not particularly. I don't think they have a lot of. I mean, they have power together, right, through the legislative body. But the reality is, they're not working for any individual interest beyond the interest of corporations. You know what I mean? Like, they're all fucking dumbasses in suits that look like they're doing something. But ultimately, what they're doing is whatever corporations want. The example I use often is this. Okay? In America, the American government works at the behest of corporations. In China, the corporations work at the behest of the Chinese government. That's the main difference. So either you have full corporate control over the government, like you have in America, or you have full corporate control over corporations by the government, like you have in China.
Well, I mean, it doesn't sound too bad to me, to be honest. But maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it too literally.
Which one do you think is worse? I mean, it depends, right? If corporate interests are all that matters in governance, then we're going to do whatever the fuck corporations want. Even if like the entire nation wants something, there's not going to be real democratic process. There is no democratic process in China either, because it's at the behest of whatever CCP decides, right? So if the CCP decides, you've sold spoiled milk to thousands of children, we are now going to execute you for corruption, okay, and for bribing an official, then China gets to do that, right? That would never happen in America.
Yeah, whoa. What about a hybrid? What about if the government had a big final say about stuff, right? But it was mostly user/people, like an actual democracy.
Yeah,
right?
no, what you're describing is yes, I agree. That is actually the best.
And the government would come in sometimes and be like, okay, guys, listen, I'm gonna tell you guys how it is, okay? On this decision, you guys all said you want this. You're all pretty fucking stupid. We're not doing this, right? And then they could like overturn some shit, right? I think that'd be pretty.
No,
good.
what you're describing is literally what it's supposed to be, and how it's supposed to work under democracy. What you're describing is how the American government is supposed to work, how we claim it works in theory, but it's never how it works. So you're right. You're absolutely correct. That is how you're supposed to do it.
I just guessed that on the fly. I had no idea what I was saying, but it just seemed logical to me.
No, it is logical. Why do you think it's illogical the moment I agree with you? What the fuck?
Well, because I just thought that I sound like almost like I was like that I was radicalized, saying that like I think it should be in the interest of the people. It should be the people's what they want, but sometimes the people are dumb. A lot of times, sometimes it should be like a veto.
I agree. I think that that's why we talked about seatbelts, right? Like or drunk driving. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers, if there were no laws against it, motherfuckers would be like, well, I can drive drunk and be fine. You know, it's not about drunk drivers. The problem is drunk crashers. You know what I mean? That's what they would say. But you got to have some fucking laws. Now, the problem is that when you bring up common sense and people say you're radical, that's more of an issue about how shitty the system is that we exist under. That's not your fault. You didn't say anything crazy. Yeah, you said something rational.
Well, yeah, okay, makes sense. I mean, it just because I don't know what is the best political system or whatever, right? I just can't but feel like it seems like the corporations with the money just buy everybody out and everybody's a bot, and the whole thing is just it's like Moneyball, right? But even worse than Moneyball. That's how it feels to me. And it's like, well, this is kind of dog shit, right? This is kind of trash, is it not? Is this not just complete dog shit?
What?
It seems like
the current. You're saying you don't know what the best way forward is, right? You don't know what the best system is, but what? But currently, it seems like we're just going random.
No. Currently, it seems like right now it's like the government how it works is like Moneyball, right? You seen the movie Moneyball before?
Yeah, with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, right? But I don't know. I don't really remember what it was in Moneyball.
It's like a massive pay to win, and then they just all like I guess like buy them, right?
It is pay to win, yeah.
Not pay to win.
Yeah, the American government is pay to win, 100%.
Yeah, so I mean, how did they let this come into what it is right now? Why is that? Has there never been any self awareness as this developed to like not make it as bad as this?
Yes,
like,
that's
guys,
so the entire existence of the federal government is supposed to basically, like, everyone starts off at the same point that, like, if you let corporations go crazy, we're going to have 1920s America. You know what I mean? The Gilded Age. Like, they're going to go crazy. They're going to use child labor. They're going to do whatever the fuck they can. They're going to enslave people. You know what I mean? They're going to do whatever the fuck they can, which is why, like, governments are formed, right? Governments are formed in some ways in liberal democracies. They're basically formed to stop all of the worst aspects of corporations, of corporate greed, right? That's why. That's what the government is supposed to do, like in a normal situation. Now, if I were to point you to examples of like that kind of still existing, I think one of the best examples is like European social democracies, where they do have some laws and some protections. You know what I mean? Like in America, for example, when you have a deposit, you have to give your landlord your deposit. In many instances, your landlord just steals that fucking yoinks your deposit. I found out yesterday that in New Zealand, the government came in, saw that was bullshit, and basically set up a system where you have to put it in a government bank. Like, you give it to someone else, so the landlord can't just fucking yoink it, right? So that's like one way that they saw a problem and dealt with it, right?
Bro, in California, bro, I saw this shit, this squatting thing. Somebody gets into your house.
Oh, the Airbnb thing?
And now it's their house.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Someone used pre-existing laws to basically use it to their advantage. Now that's a little crazy, obviously. I think that does go too far. But
it's Californian to me.
No, that's not. But that's a distraction. That's like a one-off for the most part. Yeah, it's not like a common thing that's happening. What's actually happening is that there are hundreds of thousands of empty, vacant houses right now in Los Angeles, and there's around 56,000 to 60,000 homeless people in the streets. So if it were up to me, I would try to make those empty houses full in some ways, while simultaneously building new houses as well, government-funded houses, especially because we have a lot of surplus in the tune of billions of dollars.
Well, I assume that without supervision, I mean, what if things get broken, destroyed, dirtied, or whatever? Like, who's gonna pay for that?
We do pay for that. We pay for it with our taxes already. We pay a tremendous amount of taxes. I mean, I pay right now living in fucking Los Angeles, California. I pay basically the same level of taxes I would pay if I was in like fucking Norway. You know what I mean? And I get nothing in return for that. It's awful. Why? Because they take a lot of that money and instead of spending it on education, instead of spending it on roads, instead of spending it on public housing, which would literally eradicate the homelessness problem and normalize the housing market a little bit, they spend it on fucking police. They don't spend it on the actual ways to solve problems. They spend it on band-aids. Does that make sense?
Yeah. All right. So what about this? Okay. What about
It's like if a pharmaceutical company figured out the cure to cancer, but it was it was beneficial for them to keep cancer around and like literally beef up the medication that you have to take for the rest of your life instead of like the one-off cure.
Cancer. Well, I mean the cure to cancer, bro. Isn't cancer just like a bad deviation of fucking cells and shit like that? Isn't like cancer like a concept? It's kind of hard to like find a cure to a concept, like a mutation. Am I saying it right? Isn't cancer?
I think so. I mean, I'm not like super. I don't know. I'm not super knowledgeable on like biology and how cancer works. But from what I understand, it's literally just like. It's just like replicating cells, right? Like a cluster that just goes fucking crazy and keeps like uncontrollably growing.
Okay. But yeah, okay, that was the point, but I get it though. Okay. What if all the houses I invented this new patent, and basically you make your house, right? Like all the walls, everything has like a layer, right? Of disposable something on it. And then it's like you can't dirty it or break it because it's like there's like a layer of garbage, like a layer in it, right? And if people want to fucking, if I almost want people in my, if people want, they want to live in my house that's like vacant, yo, fuck it, squat in, bro. I don't give a fuck, right?
Yeah, people do that actually, and then police like rip them forcibly from those homes. This happened in Oakland where a bunch of pregnant mothers got together who were homeless and like squatted in an empty house, and then they've literally fucking rolled tanks through to like forcibly remove them from the house. Because ultimately it's the same principle, right? Housing is obviously a right. Like when you think about it, you need shelter to survive. Animals literally look for fucking caves to make sure that they can like, survive the elements, right? When it rains or whatever the fuck. It's such an understandable position. Like it's a right. But in the United States of America, housing is seen as a vehicle to. It's seen as an asset. It's seen as a vehicle to make money instead of a right. So, and it's severely protected because originally in its inception, they wanted every American to be able to have a house, like the white picket fence. That was the dream, right? So basically, they set up a lot of measures to protect you, to help you buy a house and to basically protect you having a house. And then capitalism happened where people were like, oh shit, we can use these protective measures to literally make more money off of just sitting on these fucking houses. And renting it out to other people.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It's kind of hard for me to find a solution to that.
I mean, there are places, right? Like Red Vienna is a great example of this. I can show you a short documentary that you can watch. Austria found a solution to the homelessness problem. Vienna is a very dense city, and 65% of the housing in Vienna is owned by the government. It's like public housing.
Okay.
But
what if you had a big building, right, full of places to sleep, and it was all for the homeless, run by the homeless, right? And instead of paying some people, instead of paying employees to like wash or whatever, right? Well, they paid their own homeless, right? for them to stay, and then they maintain the whole place, right? Wouldn't that be kind of dank though? Like they would get to live there, and then all the wait, that's not slavery.
No, what you're describing is, well, they wouldn't be homeless anymore because what you're describing is actually what a lot of places some form of what a lot of places actually implement. It's called a housing first policy. Okay, because the number one thing that you need to do in order to eviscerate homelessness, like not as a preventative measure, but as a solution, right, to homelessness, the first thing you need to do is give them shelter. So what you're describing is basically cooperatively owned housing projects or like a commune. You know what I mean? Yeah. So your idea is actually not all that crazy, especially because you start off by giving them a home, and then after that, the healing can take place. Like, because there's a lot of issues with homeless people. There's a lot of issues with homeless people that, for example, have like drug issues. Like they're severely addicted, depending on like how many years they've been homeless, or like have mental illness problems and shit like that. You know what I mean? They have a lot of trauma. So then you can start working with like social workers to implement measures to ensure that they can like become productive members of society again.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I just thought, what if they live there, right? Live in a spot, right? They buy, and it's like okay, well, you get to live here every day. You spend 4 hours a day, like either cleaning stuff, doing the dishes, or making people's beds, or like passing the broom or whatever, right? And the rest of the day you can do whatever you want, and then boom, and then the whole building will be like maintained on its own. Boom, boom, boom. No.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that like homeless people should be given conditional housing on the conditions that they like clean up their own mess if they have a mess. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it'd be kind of chill.
I mean, I think that there are obviously issues with that. I think because some people are not going to be able to do that. There's a lot of disabled homeless people. You know what I mean? Like it just depends on who has the means to be able to do that. I think that isn't the worst idea, but depending on like their level of mental illness,
Give me the best idea possible then, and then we'll move on.
I think the best idea is that we set up programs with a fuckload of social workers, which means so many well-paid jobs. We pay social workers better too, obviously, and then we implement a system where we either tax vacant homes out of existence or decommodify housing in some other ways, right? Make it like as difficult as possible to be a fucking landlord so that people aren't just sitting on empty properties with the hopes that like the property value accumulates, right? With the property value appreciates, so they can like sell it 10 years down the line and spruce it up a little bit and have workers have well-funded, well-paid employees go into these communes that you're describing to both manage the commune simultaneously and also, offer a lot of mental health services and things like that, vocational training services and things like that as well, all to reintegrate homeless people back into society, no matter how long they've been homeless and no matter how traumatized they've been.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
But again, just like with healthcare, right? In America, healthcare is like super fucked. You know that. There are working examples of this, but you will never see it in American news. American media never talks about it in positive ways. You notice that?
Well, I mean, why would they? Until it's good. I mean, why say it's good? Unless people are gonna
No, I'm saying like there are working examples of other countries implementing socialized healthcare, right? Like,
like what?
There are other countries that have socialized healthcare that like works. You know what I mean?
Like what?
Like almost the entirety of European nations have some level of socialized healthcare, whether it be nationalized in the UK, which is underfunded, so it's like not the best example, but like Canada has a fucking form of socialized medicine. It's not the best because it's underfunded, but it's still better than America's.
It does pretty good. I think there's a lot of missing staff, and then yeah, it's underfunded,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
underfunded because they do
waiting
that
lines are very
deliberately. They do that
long.
deliberately. They underfund it. The right wingers in the government underfund it so that it's like shitty, so that they can make a justification for privatizing it further, so it looks like America's healthcare system.
Oh.
Because then people can make money.
Yeah, you have to put a bunch of laws behind that because I feel like most people they're like doctors, and it's a no-brainer if you're gonna go private or something to do some fucking private shit and fucking bank up. I mean, bruh, if I got a medical degree, the United States fucked me dry for like 10 years, full of student debt and dog shit. I went right out of college and I said, "Yo, dude, either you do 65K, or in this beat down dog shit, poorly lit at a hospital where you have to take a bus and a fucking subway to get there, or take the Mercedes to the fucking clinic and make my lips look big." Bro, fuck it, bro. I know what I'm doing. Like shit. Like, I mean, can you really blame them?
I mean, yeah, rich people want healthcare to remain privatized because they can pay for it, but it still fucks them over too. In the is that what you're talking about? I think I misunderstood what you were saying.
Well, I mean, it's all like very privatized and shit like that, right? Like in Canada, it's all like public shit, right? If a problem, right? If you have a problem with your knee, you can just go to the hospital and it's going to be paid for. It's free, right?
Yeah.
It'll take a long time, but it'll get there. But afterwards, what you can do, you can go private, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the salaries for the doctors over there and whatnot are probably way higher. They probably make way more bank at private, right? Because it's pay to win.
Yeah. From what I understand, you have to factor in like the social safety nets that countries have, because like, yes, they do make less money. Doctors make less money in other countries than they do in the United States of America, for sure. Because they also like people make less money in general in other countries than they do in the United States of America, because the United States of America has no safety nets that you factor in when you're looking at the quality of life, right? But ultimately, one of the major issues, and this is something I talk about regularly, is education. Medical school is insanely expensive, so you're taking on a fuckload of debt. So you can't justify doctors taking on almost a fucking $1 million of debt and then turn around and be like, yeah, now you have to work for less money than you would in a public facility. You can't justify that, which is why you have to make healthcare education, you have to make medical school and nursing also free, as it is the case in pretty much every other fucking country that we're talking about.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, education,
Yeah, education has to also be free as well.
Yeah, I think USA is fucking trolling with the whole education thing. Yeah.
Well, there was a 10-year study that just came out, or there was a study that was like talked about in 2013 about America's healthcare outcomes. This is actually very relevant, and it showed that our life expectancy has actually gone down. It's like 72 now, I think. America's life expectancy has gone down in comparison to every other comparable rich country, every other OECD nation. Yeah. And we pay the most for healthcare out of pocket. Our out of pocket cost for healthcare, like overall cost for healthcare, is literally like 10x other countries.
Jesus, that's actually fucking cooked. Yeah, listen, I didn't want to bring. I'm not even bringing Train up in this. Okay, I wish that people that were rich, right, when to like things to donate to or whatever, I wish people remembered where it all begun. Cool, yo, and they donate for like scholarships or grants to people that care. Look, you guys say says you, bro. I never tell you guys about this, okay? Because I don't like talking about numbers and how I do. Bro, I donate to certain schools for people that have the grades that are motivated to go to school that cannot afford it and come from places that are difficult to have access to be able to get the money that they need to get to these schools and educate, motherfucker. It's important, man. It's important because I was at a school, okay, and I remember what it was like. See, people that couldn't afford it, and that sucked. That sucked. I didn't like that. And that resonated. I'm not trying to be like I just thought virtue single Andy is that resonated a lot with me, and I feel like it's so little to help, and it does so much. And all it takes for one or two guys that you hit with one of these like grants, and whenever they start balling out and they make a lot of money, what do you think these days? What do you think these guys are gonna do? Yo, when I was at my lowest and I had nothing, some motherfucker gave me money for me to go to school. I'll do the same thing, and then boom, everybody does this shit.
Yes, I don't do donations because it makes me a good person. I do donations because I can, and because it makes me feel good. I don't think that that's it. And I know that like it will help other people because I have the capability of doing it, and because I know it helps other people. That's it.
That is true.
Charity is a band-aid. The systems are broken. If our system was functional, then there would be no need for charity. You could still do it if you wanted to, but there would be no need for it if our system wasn't fundamentally broken. Also, I understand why dude. If Congress saw your fucking TikTok tabs, bro, they would literally lose their minds. They would be like, okay, this is what's happening to our nation's youth. Okay, Canadians are coming in and eviscerating the minds of the American children with this TikTok addiction.
Bro, yeah, of course. This is a weapon. Bro, I'm merely a merchandiser. I get clients come in the chat. They want brain rot. I deliver. The app allows me to do it. I just sell garbage because people are buying in tons of it.
Bro, you know how people say like, oh, you don't need that much RAM, lol, for fucking React Andy shit? You need it, motherfucker. Look at this. You need a fucking, you need a 4090. You need like NASA level fucking computing systems to be able to have a Google Chrome that can have that many fucking tabs open, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah, he's real shit. Also, watch this with me. I'll link it in chat. Click on this at the same time like the video. Click on this.
I sent you two videos that are funny. Okay. You watch that. What is this? Oh, I've seen them. I know what this is.
Okay.
Because democracy basically means...
Thanks for talking to me. If I have a question, I'll give you a call, all right?
Okay, yeah, all right. Well, watch the two videos that I showed you. One is about drunk driving. It's funny. It's a TikTok. And then the other one is a very short documentary about Red Vienna.
Okay, I click both.
All right, peace.
Happy time. Take care, man.
That was another wonderful, productive conversation with XQCal. XQCCP. Here, I'll show you guys the fucking people in the 80s react to new laws against drunk driving as well. Meanwhile, what you should be reacting to is the top of the hour ad break, of course, which comes at the top of the hour. You don't actually have to see the ad break, though. Fear not. You can subscribe for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime, or by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, or by getting gifted a sub if you're lucky, and that will be another way that you can avoid the ads at the top of the motherfucking hour. Okay?